And here we begin. Here we begin, the first day of the year. The first day artificially denoted and designated as the beginning of the year. And we go through all of this stuff, and I do it too. This usual trite stuff about, the usual things. Happy New Year. Let's have a New Year's resolution. Well, this year I'm going to get in shape. Or this year we're going to do this. And this year, here are some things you can do. And we go through this every single year because we love to artificially denote and demarcate certain events, years, birthdays. How old are you? Oh, you're a freshman. You're a senior. Oh, you're retiring. It's all this conveyor belt. And that's the best part. It's this conveyor belt world that we're in. Okay, we're in, we're out, we're done, boop, gone. Through. It's wonderful to make note of things, but you're missing the travel. You're missing the expanse if you artificially say, well, this is a year and this is a decade. You're missing the point. I don't understand this. What is so special about a year? I don't know. Why? I know people who get into their year. How old are they? What do they do? They're into numbers. They love to just demarcate. I just did a brand new piece for our folks who are on the private channel. And I like to talk about some things about, in fact, this is where you should go for that. I like to talk about different things, philosophies and the like. Because I think deep down inside you really need something. And you may turn to religion, and you may turn to whatever, which is fine. I don't care one way or another. But you always want there to be some reason for it. This. You love to say that always. You love this. You always love to say, is there a reason for this? Is there a fate? I watch sometimes these stupid attempts at interviews, and I learned so much by what are not covered. This guy, have you seen Lawrence Krauss? He never lets anybody talk. He thinks he's the most interesting. And anyway, he was talking to Sabina Hofstetler, or whatever her name was, the physicist. But do you believe in fate? Is all of this a reason? Do you believe that we were put on this planet? Does life have meaning? And I've heard this my whole life. It's like, oh, here we go again with this stuff. Does life have meaning? If you think it does. If you think it does, go ahead. Sure, whatever, I guess. What do you think it is? What does it mean? What does all this stuff mean? Do you spend time working on your philosophy? Do you really do that? If you want to do something this year, forget this diet business. That's not going to work because you don't want to hear the truth about eating, so stop pretending you do. Stop pretending you do. Okay? Do yourself a favor. I've known people my whole life. They say they're procrastinators. They're going to do this. They don't do it. Nothing changes. Stop it. You're not going to change anything regarding your eating, which is the most important thing of your life. If you eat well, you'll feel better. You'll think better. Life will be whatever, but you're not going to do that. I know it. It's okay. It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're weak. It doesn't mean that much to you. It's not like stopping smoking. People don't, so forget that. Exercise, Exercise is overrated. Movement is underrated. It's a big difference. Move that over there. But how do you think? You want to change? You want to change? Change the way you think. What do you know? Take your memory bank and erase it when it comes to political ideology. Erase it. I tried to mention this before, again, on my private channel, LionelMedia.com. I went through this. It's a very interesting concept. I want you to start again to teach you how to eat, what you should eat, and what you really like to eat. Starting now. Forget everything you've ever eaten. You can't do that. Where would you start? Well, forget names. Forget Greek and Italian and this and that. Just what do you like? Invariably, you'll say, but I like Italian stuff, because you're contaminated by this. You know the styles of food. You like what it is. That's what you're used to. And you're going to say, look, I don't know what this is, but I like pasta. I like grains that are made and boiled and whatever you want to call it. So even though you're trying to rethink the way you eat, you're always going to go back to stuff that made you feel good, that you liked. And you know them by different names. That's politics. I want to go back to conservative or progressive or liberal or Democrat, or what my father said. Most of us, believe it or not, are so much of what we are is dependent upon where we are born, who our parents were. I have a friend of mine who's Jewish. I said, you're Jewish because your parents were Jewish. Did you change? No. Then you're Jewish, which is fine. Most people are Christian because they're born in Antioch, Maryland, and they're Christian or Pentecostals or whatever it is. If you're born in Syria, I don't think you're going to be Jewish. But you could be. I don't think you're going to be Southern Baptist. You could be. So much of what we are is what we've been told. So how do you get rid of that? How do you start from scratch? How do you rethink this? It's very difficult. And with that comes turning in your membership card. And the first thing you're going to have to do is turn in your party membership card. Political parties are the worst thing that's ever happened. They are the worst. It's the worst buffet. It's not even a buffet. It's not even a selection. It's this weird, you're like locked in this cruise ship from hell, and you're thinking, this is the same stuff all the time. And you're locked into this. That's it. And the worst of the worst of the worst, Republicans. Democrats are clueless. They're happy doing whatever it is they do. I don't know what they stand for. So help me God. I mean that, and I study more about what they say than you would ever imagine. Because I told you before, you have to study the enemy. or whatever the opposite group is. And I don't know what they stand for. Republicans are big on ideas, little action. Oh, they'll tell you the philosophy left and right. Oh my God, they are great. They can tell you, oh, America, and our troops, and so, but the God, okay, fine. All right, okay, good for you, but, not a good thing. Not really good. They're not what you think. So this year, what are you going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to strip everything apart. And the very first thing you can do, the very first thing, I know you're going to sound crazy, you're going to say, wait a minute, is you're going to start by going to church. Going to church, and the first church, so to speak, and I don't say this sacrilegiously, but the first church that we're going to be going to is on January the 14th. We're going to meet at the high altar of the conspiratorium here in New York City at the Cutting Room. It's the first time. It's for you to sit there and say, okay, let's do it. And the good news is I am the bringer, the deliverer of good news. There is good news here. It's funny. Relax. We can win this. It's not, I'm going to say some things that's going to shatter your worldview. I recognize that fact. I understand it. But it's the truth. So there is the link. And it's at LionelMedia.com, and you can read it. It's pinned to my site, to my Twitter page at Lionel Media. So tickets are available. Operators are standing by. So what do we do? Well, a couple of things I want to do. A couple of random thoughts. Let's talk about history. I tried to watch last night, for the first time, George and Tammy. Anybody seen that? Have you seen George and Tammy? This guy, Michael Shannon, whatever it is. First of all, what is her name? Chastain? These are incredible. Jessica Chastain. These are great musicians. Both of them are great singers. Very good. The story is so dark and so hard. I don't know if you can see back there. You can't see it, but I got a picture of me and George Jones. And he is the greatest country music singer ever. Jerry Douglas is the greatest dobro player. Joe Beam was the father of bossa nova. Bill Monroe was the father of bluegrass. But the greatest country music singer ever, who did things that nobody, not lifestyle, but just really, is George Jones. So I met him. And I know he went through a bad life. But this life of this depiction is so blasphemous. And I know you cannot blaspheme or defame the dead, but dear God, if ever you got close to it, it certainly would be now. So that's that. That was very troubling. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe today people just like to see this darkness. But I don't, I'm not sure. And it could be very well true. I don't know, but I have no interest. Second, I talked to a friend of mine yesterday. I wish I could have recorded this. He is a Ukrainian, American citizen, but from Ukraine. And we're talking about Russia and Ukraine and Putin and whatever, and it would blow your mind. And it is a worldview that you are so desperately in need of learning, but you don't, and you won't hear that because it's just not being said. And I don't know about you, but I want to always know how to pronounce something correctly, how to eat correctly, how to perform something correctly, how to, whatever it is. I want to make sure I understand how it is. And you cannot understand anything unless you have at least a framework from the viewpoint of people who actually live there and are from there and speak to the issue. You do not. You cannot. And nowhere, but nowhere, is it being seen with such distortion as now. Okay? Good. Now, here we go. Listen to this one. This is very, very important. Very, very important. Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. Next. Last night, we noticed, what time was that? We heard a lot of sirens. Excuse me. We're in the... Yeah. Yeah, 9. We're in the Hell's Kitchen area. Yeah. The kitchen, and it was Times Square. New Year's Eve. And what you're seeing right now is there was a story about some police officer they used a term which we haven't seen, Islamic something. I forget the name of it. Remember what I'm telling you, and remember which is the most important thing of anything I could possibly tell you. Number one, we are seeing all over the country a systematic and deliberate destruction of tradition. One of these days, people will say, we don't want to have any more Times Square because whatever. I don't know what it is. Have you noticed in your part of the world, part of the country, part of the world, because we have international folks, what have you noticed that has changed in your part? What do you see? I'm always looking to see if there is something that is different. We were in an area of Jersey, which happened to be there, and lo and behold, we saw more creche scenes, nativity scenes, manger scenes in front yards. It heartened me. It made me, yes, even though I'm not a big purveyor of that, that's not even the point. The point is I saw it. And people were brave enough to say, this is what this is. I want to hear people always sing happy birthday. I want people to sing happy birthday. I know this sounds kind of nutty, crazy, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. I want people to hear or to say, to do things. I want there to be families. I saw putt-putt golf. Did you ever see that? Did you ever do that when you were a kid? Your family, okay, let's go. I say, what is it? Big windmills and doesn't matter. There was a place that we go to during the season. Where was that place we went to where all those kids were? Couldn't believe it. Cider and rides and yeah, Alsteed's farm, and oh my God, they had yeah, all these, but they have petting zoos and kids and buy your vegetables and this and that. It's homespun. Why? Because of what it means. What it means. Sometimes things mean something. My grandmother used to always say one time. I'll never forget. I was a kid. She goes, "Look at this. It was Wonder Bread." My mother had Wonder Bread on the whatever it was. My grandmother says, "Look at this." She squeezes. See how bread doesn't do this. Bread has to be rock hard. Preservatives. I didn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's absolutely right. So sometimes you observe things and you say, that means something. Look at what this means. I keep waiting for there to be a reabsorption on the part of Gen Z to appreciate and embrace more conservative ideology. Every time I see a wedding, I feel good because I want people still to get married. I want people still to, I want trick or treat. I want waving a flag. I want happy birthday. I want 4th of July. I want things that we grew up with, because the first thing I want to do when I go into a place, if you will, the first thing that I do is, if I wanted to destroy a place, I would go after their traditions. And you see, one of the things you got to understand, which is very important about Russia, Ukraine, all of this, is how they share the same families, they share the same traditions, they share the same everything, which is very important. Very, 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 very critical. I'm telling you, it's absolutely the truth, and you know it's true. And you know, it's so funny, when we had these, we're looking at this, when you do what I do for a living, well, that sounds strange. When you do this, is what I'm trying to say. I am a docent. I'm the one who leads you through this exhibition called America. I'm a decoder. I'm telling you, this is what this means. This is what this means. This is what's going on. This is a story. This is what you're going to have to worry about. Worry about this, not that. When people were talking about COVID, it's like, you don't understand. It's the multiplicity of behaviors that are a part of this that I worry about more than just vaccines and COVID itself. And right now, as I'm telling you, as I have said to you, as it is as clear as possible, there are going to be dangerous food shortages. This is not just an exaggeration. And My Patriot Supply is the most popular, the largest preparedness company with millions of families already protected. And right now they're offering you $250 off your 3-month emergency food kit, which is the minimum your family should have. And this kit provides delicious, easy to make breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks for one person for 3, count them, 3 solid months. So you have to get one for each member of your family while you're able to save $250 during this timely sale, which ends soon. Now, right now, these 3-month food kits are in stock and ready to go. They ship fast and free and unmarked to keep away from prying eyes for your privacy. So go to preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. Here is the link right there, preparewithlionel.com, and do it now. The other day, I saw the most graphic, I've never seen, and I saw something yesterday I've never seen in my life. Never seen this. Mrs. L and I are driving, and oftentimes I'm saying, don't look at this. You can call it geoengineering. Okay? That's the technical term. Normally we see streaks go this way, that way. I saw one go up this way. It looked almost, I swear to God, it looked almost like a missile. I thought, this is the oddest thing. I've never seen one go straight up. And the reason why I bring this up to you is the next level of I guess, subject matter. And that is the idea of what is and isn't apparent. People do not like to approach and to appreciate that which is evident. They don't like it. They don't want to deal with stuff that is in front of them. It bothers them. It bothers them like you can't believe. It's something, people just don't want to hear these things. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen people who have gone through their life looking the other way saying, now let me explain something to you. Are there any of you, you don't have to identify yourself, but are there any of you who have suffered from what is called dyslexia? Is there any of you who have suffered from dyslexia? Is there any of you? And it is one of those things that is the most, I don't know what the word is, one of the most fascinating subjects to date. And one of the reasons why is simply this. It is considered, in many respects, unnatural to read. It's unnatural. It's a process that we all do, but people are constantly fascinated by the fact of its, I don't know what you want to call it. This the process itself. It's a very complicated thing. It's very, very, very difficult to see a word, to read it, process it, remember it, recognize it, put it in conjunction with the next word, and then come up with an idea or a thought or a communication piece, and then work accordingly. It's really something. And the fact that people can do it is odd. But somehow it's the processing. And the processing is what is interesting. You can call it ADD, ADHD, you call it dyslexia, you can call it whatever you want. Sometimes if I'm dictating, I like to dictate tweets and things. Sometimes the phone will hear me say something and say, oh, yeah, that sounded kind of like it was. But that wasn't it. That wasn't it. And that's what you do. You're constantly saying, I don't want to think about that. I just don't want to think about that. I'm not interested. I don't like the subject matter. I have a friend of mine who's Italian. He claims to be Italian. He's an American. But he always says, I'm Italian. Okay, whatever. And one day we were talking about something. I said, do you know what olive oil is? You've heard me say this a million times. And it's not even subject to dispute. It's not toxic. You're not going to die. You're not going to have olive oil and die. But it's not good for you. Meaning, if you have somebody who doesn't consume olive oil versus somebody who does, the person who doesn't is not less healthy. In fact, might be healthier than the person who is using 100% fat in cooking and substance and whatever it is. Simple. Again, it's not going to kill you. It's not asbestos, but it's not good for you. It doesn't. It's not heart healthy. It doesn't get rid of the somebody was confusing LDL with I mean, they're just completely, lipoproteins. Anyway, so he just didn't want to hear that. Think about this. I don't like to hear that. So I want to reject it. I don't want to hear that. So I reject it. Isn't that something? That's what we do. That's what you do. When you don't want to hear something, you don't like it, you just reject it. So it goes in, and then it has to traverse this barrier. Sometimes it might be the subject matter might be too difficult, it might be too arcane, but other times you say, oh no, I understand it exactly. I just don't like that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And I've told friends of mine, I said, you do realize that in as much as what this man did for America was fantastic. In fact, the other night, having dinner, a friend of mine says, why wouldn't Trump be the candidate? He did so much. So, well, he might have done much, but it's over. It's done. We have crossed that level. There's no getting back. There's no, things have changed. Too much time has elapsed. It's a different world, whatever. But it has nothing to do with his worth or his goodness or his benefit or whether you like him or not. It's just the way it is. It's like when sometimes there are changes. People change. Everybody. And then history gets to have its go at it. So don't be one of these people that says to yourself, I don't like what you're saying, so I'm going to reject it. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's the worst. You want to know bad news. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where. Tell me what I'm thinking that's wrong. There's this YouTube piece I was watching on how to pronounce names. And you ever notice this? When do you pronounce the name of a product in the correct term of its country or the Americanized version? Do you say Louis Vuitton or Louis Vuitton? Nobody says that, but that's technically Audemars Piguet. These watches. I'm still in love with these violent, profane watch appraisals. You call that a Rolex? What is this? Anyway, how do you know that? So if I say, excuse me, you're not pronouncing that correctly, I say, thank you. How do I pronounce that? Other people say, no. So let's go back. I don't want to hear it. I don't like the news. I don't like what you're saying. I don't want to change. And the next one is, I don't want to be corrected. And that's why, now listen to me carefully, that's why conspiracy theorists, by and large, are so loathed. Because you're telling somebody something they don't know about, and they feel embarrassed. They feel embarrassed. The other day we were talking about something. This is God's honest truth. You're going to think, oh, but this is true. I said, there's something right now. I said, are you aware of what I mentioned this, an EMP is? We're talking about it. And we're talking, I said, because I'm always thinking about, if I wanted to be some kind of a bad guy, and I wanted to really work. See, I've told you this before. If I were a disease, this sounds terrible. People don't understand what I'm saying. But I would be the AIDS virus, because AIDS goes in and turns off your burglar alarm. That's what I think is fascinating. Cancer is, neoplasms are basically this reproduction thing that just keeps going and going. Yeah, it's okay. That's a stroke is kind of boring. Ischemia, oxygen, Tumors are interesting. Some are different, But AIDS is viruses that go in. Viruses, because a virus is not living. It goes in and it basically rewires, it recodes, it switches off, it changes using RNA and blah blah blah. And what I would love to do, if I wanted to destroy a society, first of all, I would go and I would destroy its culture, and I can't really do that. But I would be an electromagnetic pulse blast. I would be an EMP blast. I would be this suborbital pow, this, like, what was that? Everybody okay? Yeah. Hey, my phone. Hello? NEM? What happened? You know that sound that when there's a power shortage, there's this thud. Everything, air conditioner goes off, this goes off, that goes off, the air filter, everything. That silence, that thud. Imagine if that was forever. An EMP would destroy all the electronics that you depend on in your society, changing everything. Remember during the blackouts? No, people would go and they would want to charge, and they would go up to, they used to do it in the old days with rap music. DJs would go to light poles and they would connect. So there was a group called EMP Shield. This is a Midwest company called EMP Shield, veteran owned, and they've invented a device that can hook up to your vehicle or your home that will protect you against the threat of EMP. And they've undergone testing at Keystone Compliance, which is a military certified facility. And it's listed by the Department of Homeland Security. Please check this out. There's a link right here. I'm giving it to you right here. Just do it right this moment. This is the most fascinating. Let me put that for you right there. I always want to say, please check this out. Look at this. And what it does is the company has devices that can protect not just your vehicle at home, but your generator, your solar system, and your ham radio, RV. So you have to take your safety seriously. And right here, there's a URL link. There's right here. Here's this link. Go there. Check this out. And check out EMP Shield. I think this is the most fascinating. And I've always said, I love products and things that make sense. And it makes sense. Going back to what I'm saying. Oh, what did our friend say the other day? Whenever you come over, what was it? Whenever you come over, I can't sleep at night, or you scare me, or can't go to bed at night because you scare me. Really? Now, I don't know about you, but scary things. Let me explain to you. I find scary things not even scary. I find them interesting. Whenever I see, and it's so beautiful to see, a new mother. She walks around and she's got her maternity, thing, and they're so happy, and there's a glow, and I'm thinking this is like perpetuation of the species, and this is what humans really do. This is one thing that everybody does. This is birth to perpetuate, to continue the species is the number one ingrained, hardwired thing that we do. And if you said, excuse me, hi, you don't know me, but do you know all the things that can go wrong during your pregnancy, during gestation? Do you know how many, from the time of conception to the time of birth, things have to be, or else big problems? Do you understand? Now, does she want to hear this? Probably not. But it's true. And she probably doesn't want to hear it because there's nothing I can do about it. See, there's one thing we say, nothing you can do about it? Well, not really. It's going, so, you can do whatever you can to live, to eat right, and, don't subject yourself to environmental problems. But do you really want to hear? Oh, no, I don't want to hear about that. No, I don't want to hear about that. No. when we just ran into a friend of ours whose family pet died after years, and she was devastated. Devastated. If I went to a pound or wherever they sell dogs, and say, "Excuse me, is this your first dog?" "Yeah." "Hi, I want to introduce you to my friend. They just lost their dog. They're devastated. They're devastated. You sure you want to do?" Because what you're looking at is you're taking on this dog, this pet, but when it dies, you're going to say, "Wait a minute. What are you telling me this for?" "It's the truth." "Well, yeah, but do I want to know this? Do I want to know this? When people get marriage licenses, when people get married, do they want to hear the rate of divorce? Do they? No. They kind of know it intuitively. I don't understand it. So sometimes the news is interesting. Sometimes the truth is interesting. Sometimes it's like, why are you telling me this? Don't ruin my day. Don't ruin my time. Well, our family is going on a trip. We're loading up the station wagon. Did you ever do that when you were a kid? We're loading up the station wagon and we're going to drive. Do you know how many people die? And it's like, don't tell me that. By the way, quick change of heart. Quick. Ready for this? I'm changing the subject. Yes or no? Number 1 for yes, number 2 for no. When you were a kid, did your parents, your father mostly, say, "We're going for a ride, going for a drive"? Anybody? You had that, right? You were going for a drive. Sunday drive. Let's go. Where are we going? I don't know. We're going for a drive. And you would sit there with your sibling or siblings, maybe in the station wagon, maybe facing the rear, in this station wagon with wood on the side, hot, no seatbelts, no nothing, no computer games, maybe a book. And you would sit there and say, "Let's look for license tag numbers." Okay. That kind of thing. Or maybe you see the Stucky sign. "Hey, peanut brittle. God, can we get peanut brittle? What the hell do you want peanut brittle for? I don't even know what peanut butter is. But they keep telling us 5 more miles, 4 more miles. So Stuckies." I don't know if you had Stuckies. It was in the South. "Peanut brittle." Okay. And you show up with all these people. That's like a kind of like rest stops in a very strange way. I kind of like it because it reminds me of that. And remember that when we did this. This is a brand new idea. There's something about that. There was something so simplistic about it. I was thinking about that the other day. Just things that we did that we would amuse ourselves. We would amuse ourselves with these things. And it's fascinating. And if you told somebody, "Do you know that when we were kids, we actually would read a book?" Listen to this. You ready for this? I know somebody, I shouldn't say this, a young lady who reads, how many books a week? 3 books a week. 3. And will return them for new books. A book, physical book, not an e-book. Can't return those. And she won't break the spine or whatever it is. And make sure and then after she's done, she goes back to whatever the company is and returns it or gets a new one or whatever it was. Now, first of all, they go, wait. You're reading 3 books a week? Yes. You're reading? Yes. My God. There's something there is a part of our society that if I could have my way, and listen to me right now, follow what I'm saying. Imagine I'm Jeff Bezos, or I'm Elon Musk, or I'm Soros, or whatever it is. I'm going to take now listen to what I'm saying. Listen carefully. I'm going to take all of my media, and I'm going to say, create the story that parents and families are reinventing driving on Sunday trips. Whether it's true or not, do it. America reacquaints itself with the Sunday drive. Whether it's true or not, do it. Say it. Look how I change what people can do merely by creating this. Then I'm going to say, kids are reading. It's not true, but they will do it once I tell them it's true. Neil Peart, Andy Carmen says this. Not Pert, Peart was a monster reader. Now think about what I just said. I'm artificially creating two things. And people are saying, it's true. Hey, let's go on. And people will do what I say. People will do what I say. I'm going to also write artificially in my media that people are courting again. The return of the love letter. Love letter? What's a love letter? That's what. The return of courting. The return of church. That there's a new wave, a new emergence of fundamental conservative tradition and how kids and families and little girls are learning how to cook again. And apron sales. I'm going to make this up. It's not true, but I'm going to create it. Home ec. Dances. Proms. Courting. Double dating. Whatever. And people will do what I say because they think it's true. Now do you understand the role of media? Now do you understand this? Do you really think there are this many drag shows in the country? No, they're not. Do you really think that? There aren't. It's a myth. There's a few, but not as many as you think. But they want you to think that. Well, if I was Bezos, if I was the anti-woke, I switch it, and that's the way that works. How do you like that? You hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand the power of what these people can do? We can switch it like that. But we need the influence. And Fox News is going to do it, and those stupid morning shows on the couch are going to do it. We need to somehow, I don't know how, get those people to relinquish control or something. I don't know what. The first thing I would do in 2023 is do a story how kids want to play ball. If you have a child, the first thing you do is buy them blocks. Remember that toy? It was a plastic Fisher Price. It was a pole, and they had donuts of various sizes. Teaches them color, teaches them size, teaches them strategy, symmetry, stacking, tactile, locomotion, depth, processing, parietal. I love the parietal. Placement, where I am, where do I figure, what am I doing, what's going on. Kind of like the God part. This is where all the religious part is. But I would do that. Oh, and religion? Oh, give me that old-time religion. Oh, yes. Families, you know it. Sunday. Remember there was a traditional thing about Sunday was family, whether you liked it or not. Sunday was comics. I don't know if I want to go through that again, but it was comics. Remember remember the Sunday paper? It was like this big thing, and you had the comics, and you took silly putty, and you put the silly putty, on top of the comic. Hey, look at this, and you stretch it because you were easily amused. But it was a traditional thing, and it was simple. Nancy and Sluggo and Prince Valiant and Mary Worth and the Phantom and whatever it was. There were these before Herman and these other weird. But there was this thing. And we didn't realize how important it was. And I'm not listen to me. I know what you're thinking. You think this guy's just being, nostalgic. I am not merely being nostalgic. I am telling you, these things made sense. These things made sense. There was something about it which actually was better. That's why, as a friend of mine who's a fourth grade teacher says, kids can't write today because they have no sense of depth. They have no no motor skills. Teach them, chopsticks. Teach them, do something. This is important. Teach them how to play the guitar. Teach them how to play the... It's not just to play it. It's what it does to your brain, the circuitry. It facilitates movement. Kids needed that, but they don't do that because they watch a device that's everything's blasting them. They don't have to do anything. I actually saw the other day a kid playing with a Game Boy. And I said, good. And the parent says, I'm like, well, I know we can't. I said, no. Game Boy's this. Strategy. Rules versus this. Just staring at them. The only thing they do is swipe. This was different. We have the answers. What don't we have? What don't we have? Control. Influence. We don't have the media. We don't have it. The moment we have it, it's a different story. The moment we have it, I swear to you, I will change it. I know you put me in charge of this, and I will be the prefect of propaganda. I'll change what people do like you can't believe. I will artificially create. Girls are learning how to cook at home and can. I don't want to put girls in the kitchen. I want to go back where boys and girls and people and Americans went back to a better time. Because the time we live in right now stinks. This is the worst. It's terrible. It's awful. I went through the good times. You probably did. And I'm not saying it just to be, I'm not nostalgic for the sake of nostalgia. I'm not one of those people, okay? Do you understand this? Now, speaking of which, I want to talk about my good friend and yours, Mike Lindell, and My Pillow. Look at this. Have you gone to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel? Look at what he's got. Look at that smiling punim there. Their overstock sale. Oh, I still think it's so funny. Every time they came after him left and right because he dared to say, look at this. By the way, I'm right now looking at it. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Children's Bible story pillow. Bible story throw blankets. My Pillow sandals. My Pillow mattresses. Plush blankets. Roll and go anywhere. My Pillows. Down. I like this one. The My Pillow body pillow with pillowcase, sheets, etc., etc. Look, you know the routine. Use promo code Lionel. There is the link right there for you to look. And anybody who dares to do the right thing, I'm with 100%. So there it is. And if you're interested in calling, you can call 800-645-4965. Look what somebody said. Sulla, 1776 says, make blacksmithing great again. Absolutely. Remember the Woodwright shop? The Woodwright shop was this guy who actually made his own nails. He used wood. I want to teach craftsmanship. I want schools to have, very simple. We have a thing where we figure out who's going to college and who's... I cannot tell people today that they have to go to college. I can't. I cannot explain to people, and I cannot put into benefits of college necessarily today. I'm sorry. I know I should, but I can't. I would want to be able to have an early age to figure out who's going to college, who's not, who's inclined for, Anita Pointer. The Pointer Sisters. Remember that? I'm so excited. I'm sorry, it just popped up. Blacksmithing, wood carpentry. Oh, I love watching YouTube is still the greatest thing in the world. You can learn so much. How people do woodworks and That's enough. I've said a lot. I've said a lot, and I've said so much I can't even believe it. Now, I want you to write this down and make sure you go immediately and sign up for Lynn's Warriors newsletter. That's number one, right here. There's the link. I want you to click it and sign up for Lynn's Warriors newsletter. Okay? You got that? Good. I also want you to make sure you sign up for her Twitter site, but also her YouTube channel. And there it is right there. Go to her YouTube channel and follow her on Twitter. I know you don't like Twitter and all this stuff, but it doesn't matter. Twitter is still fantastic. It is still where most people, frankly, go. It's that simple. Okay? So that's what you're going to do. And one more thing. Oh, also, somebody said, where is this Lionel merchandise? Where do I get that huge mug? It's right here, the official Lionel store. And that's that. So anyway, thank you so much. 2023, here we go again. Nothing special about today. It's like every other day. We continue. We don't lose our focus. We know exactly what we're doing. I thank you for your time, for your attention, and for your support. Please follow us. And also, if you want to go into a deeper, darker, more, shall I say, I don't know, more of a adult version, not dirty, but adult in terms of the subject matter, follow my private channel, Thusly. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.